What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Just a heads up before I started filming, I noticed that Amazon now has Switch lights back in stock, and that included the Coral Edition. Just a heads up for anyone out there who's been looking for a Switch of some kind, because even in my area, the Switch lights are starting to completely sell out. At least for now, the Amazon listings are there. They probably will sell out pretty quickly, as we've seen, though, but just a heads up. Today, though, we have a bunch of things to go over, which includes Nintendo discontinuing eShop services in over 40 countries for the Wii U and the 3DS. We'll talk a bit about that. And then it appears, anyway, for now, and I wanted to bring this up just in case anyone out there has any knowledge of this, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the rumors may end up being true. There's a listing that popped up on an online retailer store for a Tony Hawk game, and we're going to talk a bit about that today as well. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below as we head towards 500,000 subscribers, hopefully before the end of this year. We're going to start today with Deadly Premonition 2. We had mentioned before, of course, on the show that it would probably get some kind of information, which most likely would come down to being a release date, and it's coming maybe sooner than people were expecting. I was thinking over the summer it could be coming out, and it does appear to be the case. They put this trailer out here for the release date, and that is July 10th. Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise. And one of the funniest parts is that people started looking over some of the PR that they sent out. They sound like a full press release, kind of going over key features, and one of them mentioned that you either walk around or you skateboard to get around. It's interesting. All right, sure, Deadly Premonition 2. With skateboarding. Now, I do need to finish playing through the first one, and Sean was trying to get me to play through it. I always looked at the cover on the 360 and I never played it, so maybe I will go back, just finish up the first one before this one comes out, because he's really into the first game, so maybe I'll check it out. But at least you won't have to wait too much longer, July 10th, and people were wondering why that wasn't in like a direct or something that could be in June. To be honest, it might have just been too late. So like they probably wanted more than like a month lead up to the game's release. Also, yesterday, randomly, just out of nowhere, Indivisible dropped on the Switch. Okay, sure, I guess, but what's really odd about this is even the developers and the project lead did not know it was supposed to be coming out yesterday. You can see this tweet here from the project lead for Indivisible saying, "No release date announced, no lead up PR at all. It's missing current features like co-op. The eShop art is the wrong image. The launch does not represent the quality standards of Lab Zero. It just doesn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't us, but hey, it's 20% off." Now, this is odd, right? Because the lead doesn't know that it just randomly was coming out yesterday. Apparently not, but the issue right now is that we're in some uncharted waters, obviously with the pandemic and the virus, and from what I've been able to gather, because I saw this and I thought it was so strange, from what I've been able to gather, the certification process and getting everything in order to release like straight up on the eShop is all over the place, backed up. It's really tough to get everything set up for release, so most likely they got the green light and they said, you know what? Put it out there. Okay, the image isn't right, whatever, put it out there. And then go back, of course, and update it to fix it. But it is missing features, and that's pretty annoying, right? Even obviously for the lead for the game itself. So hopefully they'll get an update out soonish to get that fixed up. But I guess it's 20% off, so they're trying to meet kind of in the middle there, but still, it's kind of weird. We also got another release date for a game coming up that I was pretty interested in because I liked it originally back on the I think it was the original Xbox that I played it on. And we're going to go over here to THQ Nordic's tweet. You can see that here. It says, "Prepare your defenses. The invasion will begin on July 28th. So just 18 days after Deadly Premonition 2 hits, we'll have Destroy All Humans, which is dropping from THQ Nordic. That's going to arrive on the PC, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. Now, we've seen full gameplay for this, and I've been waiting to hear some sort of release date for this game because, like I said, I played the original on the Xbox back in the day, mid-2000s, and I liked the first one. I don't think I really played the second one that much, though. Just the first one. I specifically remember borrowing it from a friend, playing through it, and having fun with it. It's kind of this comical, cartoony take on an aliens dropping down on Earth and just wrecking the human race. So I'll be going back through and playing it at the end of July. I just gotta figure out what system I'm gonna grab it on. I might grab it on the Xbox just to see how the One X handles it. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start with the Wii U, 3DS, limited eShop store closures that are going on. I say limited because these are specific types of eShop closures that we're going to go over here, but Nintendo did put out a statement, and we have a full page that goes over which countries are affected. It's more than 40 of them, but it specifically seems to be for limited eShops. And what that means is these are eShops that are pretty much set up in different regions, designed essentially to just redeem codes that you buy so that you can then download your game and also re-download it. Apparently there is no like eShop to go through, and if you're in one of these countries here, or these regions that we're gonna go over, let me know in the comments if that is the case, and if this is going to affect you for obviously your 3DS, your 2DS, your 2DS XL, 3DS XL, or the Wii U. So on Nintendo's site, it says in certain Latin American and Caribbean countries, limited Nintendo eShops for the Wii U system and the Nintendo 3DS family of systems have provided a few basic functions, such as game code redemption. Those limited Nintendo eShops will close on July 31st, 2020, and users in the affected regions will no longer be able to access or to redeem a download code, re-download software, or update software. So we encourage users to take any such actions before the closure date. Now, if you go further down, you can see a list of all of the different regions that are affected by this. So I'll leave a link down below in the sources to this page. You can go just to double check to see if you are in one of these areas here. Now, it obviously does not seem to affect the Switch or anything. It's just the 3DS, the Wii U, but I'm sure plenty of people still use the 3DS, as I've heard people say that they're still playing on the system. The Wii U less, though. I will admit that the Wii U, I'm like, I mean, sure, there are still some people that are probably using it and have to access for redeeming your codes, but the big problem here is kind of that digital age, right, taking over, but having these kind of consequences. Keep in mind, this right here means that if you have purchased a game, you won't be able to re-download it after the end of July, which, yeah, that's kind of an issue, right? I mean, you just lose your game then. Like, that's not good. If you had it physically, of course, you pop it and you play, but it also says you wouldn't be able to update games either. So any game that had some sort of, let's say, game-breaking glitch or bug worked out in a day one patch, you wouldn't be able to access that either. Now, at the bottom of that page, I will say what's interesting is there is like a Q&A part, of course, and Nintendo mentions that they have nothing further to announce in terms of plans for opening like full eShops there. And I thought about that. I said, what if they're closing the limited eShops in order to open up like full eShops there, where you browse, you buy through it and all of this? I don't know if that is going to be the case, but that, I mean, over 40 countries to just lose the ability to buy or re-download games they've already purchased, or really redeem codes that they bought, that is strange. I guess it's for what's becoming their legacy systems, but you can still buy 2DS XL systems or regular 2DS systems in stores. So you'll have to let me know if you're in one of these regions and if they've just full on discontinued these systems completely, because if you could still walk into a store, buy a 2DS or a 3DS or whatnot, and then you can't use it after July 30th for digital stuff, it's just, that is very strange. Hopefully Nintendo has something planned, but if they don't, it's just the consequences going forward of this all digital future that a lot of people seem to be embracing right now. Next up, let's talk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater, because there have been several rumors right now about some sort of new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game coming out towards the end of this year. We had a musical artist who was on Facebook saying, hey, I just recorded a bunch of songs for the new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game coming out later this year, and then their post disappeared, probably after they got yelled at by Activision for putting that out there. It is interesting, though, because after Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 came out, it seemed that the contract ended and then they all moved on, or did they? That's the big question now. What if there was a new deal inked behind the scenes that we don't know about, and it could be I would say a fun surprise reveal, right? Wouldn't that be cool to be like, oh yeah, new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game coming out, and it's not terrible. We'll see about that, right? After Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, I guess it can't get any worse, right? Well, it looks like leading up from these rumors, there are some retail listings. Specifically here, you can see them just listed, and it says Tony Hawk's Alcatraz. All right, and this is on GameWare, and they have several, of course, listings for all different games. You can buy them, pre-order them, do all kinds of stuff there. Now, they do have an October 30th release date of this year. Throw that one out the window anyway. Even if this is correct, that is just probably a placeholder date. gone over this several times. Most of the time, we're looking for some sort of listing that at least says that there is a game that could be coming out, because sometimes their systems are updated and then the website just gets updated automatically, or systems at GameStop or Best Buy have done this as well. It's not a confirmation, of course, but it is something that's kind of piling on top of this large rumor mill that's kind of saying, hey, Tony Hawk Pro Skater this year. Now, Alcatraz is a level from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, so it could be something maybe where it is a remaster of the older games kind of piled into one game, and they're taking a level name and saying, hey, yeah, we're going to call it that. That would be interesting. We've had something like that, and it wasn't very good on PC and Xbox 360. I remember playing it on the 360, and then I actually still have it on Steam, and it isn't very good. But if they could really sit down and actually make a good Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, skateboarding games are actually kind of making a comeback right now. We have Skater XL, Sessions, and everyone wants a new skate game. So, hey, a new Tony Hawk game would be welcomed, I would say. So here's hoping they have a cool reveal set up for the time when E3 would have been in a few months, or what if they showed up at a Sony or Microsoft event coming up? We'll see. Next up, let's talk about that Stadia Connect that took place yesterday, noon Eastern time. And I have to say, Stadia is at least still trying, and they had some pretty cool reveals yesterday, but they're still missing that big thing, which is an exclusive, like just any type of exclusive to make people go, well, I can't get that anywhere else. They did announce a deal with EA to bring over some of their games, like, of course, Madden is showing up, figures, right? FIFA, a lot of their sports franchises are coming over, which, okay, that means that EA is going to put Madden on Stadia before they put it on the Switch. Keep in mind, we just heard that Stadia has had just over a million registered users now, or a million downloads, as has been said, and the Switch at this time that we know of has over 53 million systems sold, and probably will be closer to 60 million when we hear more about that next week. So, you know, okay, EA, whatever you say there. But having those Jedi Fallen Order come over, I mean, that's a good pickup for Stadia. And then they're also going to have Zombie Army 4. That one's going to be part of their Pro membership, which if you've just signed up for Stadia, you have the Pro membership right now. That'll be at the beginning of May. Rock of Ages 3, Ember, and Octopath Traveler also showed up here. Now, Octopath that's an interesting one. It's clearly not coming to the PlayStation or the Xbox, I guess, at this point. I mean, it is interesting. I guess Nintendo paid for like console exclusivity for that. I figured it would have gone to those platforms before something like Stadia, but it's already on PC anyway, so I guess they figure, hey, sure, we'll put it on Stadia as well. I don't think Nintendo was like, oh no, Stadia, oh, we don't have to compete with that. Nah. But I mean, Octopath Traveler going there, something else that's pretty cool to see. And then the big one that they pushed was PUBG. I mean, PUBG is added to like their Pro membership right now. Once again, you already have it for the next 2 months if you've signed up recently. But I still feel like I look at PUBG and it's kind of waned a bit in terms of popularity, right? Like that would have been a really big deal like 2 years ago. You know, PUBG, whoa, you know, I don't know, that just kind of dropped, and I said, okay, I guess PUBG. I mean, it's cool that it's part of their Pro membership and you can just sign in and play it, but I will give Stadia credit. This is obviously the best Connect that they've done so far, their little presentation. I believe it's their third one, and it actually had games that are good, and it had this EA support that Nintendo hasn't been able to get, probably because those two companies are at odds for whatever reason, who knows. EA's weird, like I said. But for Google, it's good for third-party support that they're starting to get, but they gotta come to the table with an exclusive, and at least for now, it looks like they're not giving up on this platform, and we'll see what the next Connect brings. Maybe one of those studios that they have will finally produce something just to show the user base. And in our last bit of news, I want to talk a little bit about Clubhouse Games 51, just a little bit, because there was a trailer that went up. It basically went through all the different games, but it showed some pretty cool details to this compilation of games. Now, they of course show like the different board games kind of that they have set up. They have like Chinese checkers, regular checkers, but then they also have games like blackjack and poker, and okay, I get that that's there. But then they went to some of the games like motion control style games from Wii Sports. They have bowling. I saw bowling, and then they show the motion, like kind of the motion for the Joy-Con on the bottom right. So it looks like it's just straight up Wii Sports bowling in there. They kind of showed like boxing a bit, darts. And the coolest part about this that I really, really like is that they have like this local multiplayer thing going on where if you have multiple Switch systems, you put them next to each other and you can extend an RC track car around. So you build them by having different Switches right next to each other. And we've kind of seen that tech a little bit already. They've showcased somewhat, but that is a cool idea for Clubhouse Games 51. Yes, it's a compilation of mini games, but there appears to be some thought put into it. And I will say it does look like a high quality compilation of games. 51 of them, that's not bad. I mean, coming out in the first week of June, I'm gonna be looking into it because like I know it sounds weird, but having like Wii Bowling back is like, I mean, that was fun to have that, right? And then of course, 51 games, you're probably going to get your value out of it if you have people to play with, specifically family and friends. It would be a great thing to have now, wouldn't it? If you're inside a lot and you have something like Clubhouse Games 51, it would probably pass the time pretty well. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This one's from William saying, of course, Sony are releasing Last of Us Part 2 due to the leak. If they were just going to have a simple 3-week delay, they wouldn't have announced as it was. It's been ready to go probably from the date they said and was being held back as a PS5 launch game. The leak has just made them pull the trigger much earlier than they wanted. And the more I've thought about this, the more I agree with that idea, but I don't know if it was going to be a PS5 launch title just because it's been shown for the PS4 so much. I think it was originally going to come out somewhere in September to October, at least a month before the PS5 dropped, because then they probably could have got essentially 2 launches out of it. They would have launched it initially in, say, September, and then the PS5 comes out mid-November, and a patch is already there. Like, there's already a patch ready to go online so that when you connect your PS5 to the internet and you pop Last of Us Part 2 in, it downloads that PS5 patch, and they could probably have something on box art that ships in like the second wave or the first wave even that says PS5 enabled or something at the top of it. So yes, I do think you're right with the leaks. I think that's kind of messed things up, thrown a wrench into the whole plans here, but I mean, I guess we get it earlier then, right? I know I read the story a bit, the leaks, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be, I'm a little concerned for how this is going to play out, but I've waited as long as I have. I got to experience this game to see for myself. And ladies and gentlemen, let's go to it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's the eShop shutting down services in over 40 countries for the Wii U and the 3DS. Let me know if you're affected down below. Also, what about Clubhouse Games 51? It's growing on me a bit here, and I like some of the technology that they're doing and some of the ideas that they're putting into this compilation. Then Tony Hawk Alcatraz. What are the odds of that being correct? And what would you want it to be after what we've seen so far with like the little compilation they did on Xbox 360 and PC, and then Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5? And can they make a good Tony Hawk game? Please. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.